Κυρίες και κύριοι, γεια σας. Είμαι η Δespina Αφενtouli και ακούτε Cosmos FM της Νέας Υόρκης. Η συνέντευξη που ακολουθεί μεταδίδεται στην αγγλική γλώσσα και είναι αφιερωμένη στην κοινότητα του Αγίου Γεωργίου του Τροπεοφόρου στο Μανχάταν της Νέας Υόρκης με καλεσμένους τον οσιολογιότατο ιερομόναχο Σοφρόνιο Βόμεντ, ο οποίος είναι ο ιερατικός προϊστάμενος της εν λόγω κοινότητας και ληξίαρχος στην Ιερά Αρχιεπισκοπή Αμερικής, και τον πρόεδρο του Εκκλησιαστικού Συμβουλίου της συγκεκριμένης κοινότητας, Άντριου Τζόρτζ. Father Sophronios, welcome to Cosmos FM.
Thank you for having me. It's a blessing and an honor to be able to speak with you guys today.
And President Andrew, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Welcome to Cosmos FM.
Thank you, Despina. I appreciate the opportunity.
So, Father Sophronios, you are serving the last months at St. George's Greek Orthodox Church in Manhattan, New York, and you're also working for the Registry Office at the Archdiocese of America. Please tell us more about your path to priesthood and your current positions.
Well, my path to priesthood is slightly complicated, but it ended up last year with a blessing with the Archbishop. I was ordained in January to the priesthood, and I was assigned here to St. George around March or May. So I've been a little shy than a year now here at St. George. I went to seminary because I really love the service. I also liked teaching a lot. And really giving people deeper understanding of the Christian faith. So it's my passion, it's my hobby, it's my love, and I love to do this. And that's why I went to seminary. I didn't have ordination at first in mind, but upon completing seminary, the Archbishop requested or asked me to also be ordained, which I was excited about and gladly accepted. And then shortly after my ordination, I was immediately placed here at St. George. So it was also my first parish here at St. George.
Congratulations, Father.
Thank you.
President Andrew, you have been serving the Greek Orthodox Church of St. George over the last 4 years. Please tell us more about the community and how it has developed.
The community, when I came to it, was vibrant. I first came to it probably about 7 years ago as just a parishioner, and I was busy traveling at the time. And then when my travels kind of ceased, I became more part of St. George. I became treasurer and served in that position for a year and a half. And during COVID, there's a change of leadership. Father Andreas Vitulkas, who is now at St. Nicholas Shrine, he was our priest at the time, and we talked about leadership, and I decided at the time to, run for president. And it was obvious that Father Andreas and I got along. It was COVID. And we decided we would work together with others in the community to build St. George back from a physical infrastructure. We couldn't have people at the church. So we decided to start the restoration of St. George at the time. And that's how my journey at St. George began.
That sounds great. So, Father Sophronios, what is your vision about the Greek Orthodox Church of St. George?
My vision for St. George is, due to COVID and a lot of changes, the community became a little less. And as Andrew and the parish council, Father Andreas, and many of the priests have faithfully built up the infrastructure of the church, also to build up the internal infrastructure of the church, which is the people, the community. They're the cornerstone, they're the building block of the church, as the Bible says. And to make them, to build them up again, and to have a community here that is more vibrant. So we're starting more with activity, with more events, with more prayers, liturgical prayers. And we're trying to start some ministries back again. We're having a new website coming. So our idea and our vision is, of course, to build up, to complete the renovations of the external church, but then also to renovate, so to say, the internal church by building up people in the faith, to understand their faith better, to understand Orthodoxy better, to understand the history of the church better and why they're here and why we why we're here in Manhattan ultimately, and the vision of what St. George is for a small church, a small family church in Manhattan, and what is his vision for the environment, for the neighborhood, society where we are.
And President Andrew, what are your goals for the St. George's Greek Orthodox Church in Manhattan?
I think Father Sophronios said it well. We have to be, a center of orthodoxy. We're the only Orthodox church in Midtown Manhattan. So that gives us like a particular distinction. One of the things I think that St. George has to be is welcoming to people of many backgrounds. It's not just Greeks that come to the church. It's Bulgarians, some Russians come to the church, and we have to be welcoming to all. I think that's St. George's reputation. One of the things about welcoming, and because I've worked on this, is the physical infrastructure has to be welcoming. So we have raised about $350,000 for both the interior renovation of the church, which has been mostly completed. And people who come to the church, as you well know, they come and they say, wow, it's much lighter, brighter, it's nicer. And the church has to be that way. It has to be in first-class condition. And externally, we hope to start the exterior renovation of the church in the springtime and make the church inviting. We want it to be a little jewel box in the center of the theater district. So that's one of our goals that we're doing. The other thing is we're trying to have more events. So in the last 3 months, we've had 3 fun events: a fall festival, a book presentation by an author of our church and a community member, Patricia Schultz, who writes the book 1,000 Places to See Before You Die and Why You Travel. And it was a wonderful presentation, and she donated over $1,000 worth of books to our church, very generous. And last week we had a comedy event at the church, which attracted over 100 people to the church. So, the church's community activities is on the increase. And we want that. We want it to be a spiritual home. We want it to be a community home. And we want the physical and spiritual infrastructure always to be inviting.
So this Church of St. George, Tropaioforos, as we call it, is perhaps the only one church in New York, at least, right? Under this name. So I would like to ask Father Sophronios, what is your message to our audience on Cosmos FM?
One of the messages is, especially in this time of Lent, is to keep the church and its community always in your prayers and your minds, that it continues to expand, that it does its vision, the evangelic vision that it's meant to be and that's called to be to the people. To every person that walks into the church, that they have an experience of God and unite with God, and as well as the community around us, that they have an ability to be able to connect with God and find God in a deeper level. So my message would be to constantly keep us in your prayers, myself, the parish council, and St. George, the community at large, and to not cease to forget us in your prayers.
And President Andrew, what is your message to our audience on Cosmos FM?
Well, we want to invite you to St. George. I think to come to St. George and to experience this really small church in the Midtown Manhattan, it feels like when you walk in that you're, back in Greece and in the middle of the skyscrapers. It's wonderful to have this experience in the heart of an incredibly busy city. For me, that's where I found my spiritual home, and I find it, a pleasure to attend the church, to meet the people, to help make it a little bit better. And I would just say that we have in Father Sophronios a young and dynamic leader who puts the time into the church that it needs. So that's why I'm incredibly hopeful about the future of St. George. And the fact that we have a lot of parishioners and parish council members who put the time into the church. And it's a pleasure to be associated with them.
Thank you so much, Father Sophronios, for your time and for sharing all this with us today.
Thank you for taking your time and for having the opportunity for us to share about St. George. We really appreciate it.
President Andrew, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts as well with us today.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much.